Mukapavani chair often. Very fortunate. So let's share this prayer. Chikritanamamrita Bharshivakta Chandra Prabhadvasta Tamo Bharaya Gauranga Deva Anucharaya Tasmai Namo Nama Srinarotamaya. Again and again I offer my obeisances to Shilanath and Das Thakur. He's indeed a true follower of Lord Gauranga Dev. The nectarian shower of the holy name radiating from the moon of his mouth destroys the darkness of ignorance. Gora Draganya Gana Gota Goloruharam Gauranga Gudachama Gopyata Kopa Briksham Gopalagada Ratidam Yati Singha Gora Govinda Deshi Kavaram Satatam Namami Uttama Adama Kichuna Bachida Jachiya Dhileka Kola Sahe Premananda Hemona Gauranga Hridaya Dhariya Bola Goranga Kaha Goranga Laha Gorangera Namure Chejana Goranga Baje Se Hoya Mada Pranare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Yashaiva Padambu Jabhakti Labhya, Prema-bhakti-candrika Parama Pavata, Tasmai Jagan Mangala Mangalaya. Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste. Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste. Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste. Madgavirapi Gopala Svikriyat Kripaya Jari Tadaiva Sambhaya Pidva Rishi Yustad Priya Janaha Shri Krishna Krishna Chaitanya Sasanatana Rupaka Gopala Raghunatha Brajabala Pahima Panchakopatarubhischan Kripa Sindhu Bhyevachan Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Om Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Wow, so nice to have everybody here today. Month of Kartik. Nice to see local Pavani and Tirthaka, especially. Been missing you guys. So I wanted to do something a little special and give everybody a small gift. Let me show you how you can use it. I made some posters, is what I did, and I'll send these out by our WhatsApp group. And if you like, you can print these out and laminate them. And do what we do. We carry them wherever we go, and we stick them on our wall with little blue tack. Let's see if I can show you. Yeah. So you see up there some little posters of some different verses that we like. So today's verse is really, really wonderful. And I've been reciting this every day for the month of Kartik, actually. And I thought I'd share it with everybody also. So this is the beginning of a new song in Prema-bhakti-candrika. It's the fourth section, chapter 4, the fourth song, which is called Yugala Bhajan Nishta, which means that Nishta Bhajan or fixed bhajan, undivided bhajan or undivided service for the divine couple. And what does that mean? So there's a number of verses for this song, and we're just going to go over the first one tonight, wherever you're at. And I think it's quite ecstatic. Let's see here. Anakata anavyata nahi jena janatata tomara charan smriti saje. Abhirata abhikal tuya guna kolakal gai jena satira samaje. Wherever there are discussions on mundane topics, pains and pleasures, may I restrain myself from going there. Let the remembrance of your lotus feet decorate my heart. May I properly chant your transcendental qualities unceasingly in the society of devotees. So I call this topics for the heart, because there's so many different topics. But Narottam Das Thakur, showing mercy to us who are addicted to so many things, like myself, I'm very addicted to reading the news and so many mundane things. He's offering this prayer that we can recite every day, anakata anavyata, that these mundane topics, these things about all this excitement in the material world, nahi jena jana tata, may I not go there. And rather, may the decoration in my heart be remembrance of your lotus feet. And how do we do that properly? Abhirata abhikal. He says that to do that properly, I should always stay in association. Gayajina Satara Samaj, with the Sat Samaj, with the association of pure devotees. And what is that association of pure devotees? Is Tuya Guna Kala Kala, that they're always hearing and speaking about the subject matters of Krishna. Srila Prabhupada, sometimes once he was asked a question, put it this way, he said that someone asked him, how many of your disciples are pure devotees? Or how many of your members are pure devotees? And Prabhupada asked the question, how many devotees do we have in our society? That's how many are pure devotees. Now, you may hear that and you may kind of roll your eyes and say, well, gosh, Prabhupada's really trying to encourage everybody, flattering them. But actually, it's a Shastric statement. Although they may not be free from material desires, if they're coming together and they're hearing and speaking about Krishna Katha, pure Krishna Katha, then that's a Sat Samaj. That's a society of pure devotees. So there's so many different subject matters to hear in the material world. I'd like to share with you an excerpt from a lecture Srila Prabhupada gave. This was in Montreal in 1968, very, very early. Probably this was just before he was sending off Malati and Jamuna and Mukunda and the devotees to England to preach. Prabhupada was giving him some special mercy. So let's listen to a little bit of this talk here, and I think you'll be able to also read online at the same time. So that's if my internet connection cooperates, which it should.
So, Sukdev Goswami said, the grihesu grihamedhinam, one who does not know anything about this family life or sex life. Family life, they have taken it as sex life. That's all.
I don't know what was everybody saying. Maybe I messed up. Did the
So, they have many things to hear. Sotubhyadini Rajendra Ninang Santi Sahasra. Actually, you see, people are reading so many newspapers. In big country, big cities, there are big volumes of newspaper, magazines. They are very much eager to learn or to hear about the current news. To hearing means through the bed. There are volumes of literature, magazines, newspapers, they are here. But when you say, please come here, we are reciting Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, please hear, they will not. They will not come. This mind, when you speak of God, then they are not ready to hear. But if you speak of dog, that here is a dog's medicine, you can maintain a dog like this, and the dog can become fatty like this and all. It is very scientific medicine. They are called Gihamedi. They have got many subject matter to hear. But they are not agreeable to hear only one thing about God.
I'm missing any type of information. Okay, so Srila Prabhupada is speaking very strongly about these persons that they have many topics for hearing in the material world. Shota Vyadini Rajanaminam Santi Sahasra Saha Pashyatam Atmatattam Grihesi Grihamediam. This is the nature of Grihamedis. They have many subject matters for hearing. And it's interesting, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, in his commentary on this verse, he says that this verse is describing karma yoga, that we should stop hearing about all these different things. In bhakti, we don't worry so much about the negative things. We want to focus on the positive things. We want to focus on hearing in association with devotees. But that hearing and that focusing our time is a very important aspect of bhakti. It's something which is also for the most advanced devotees. In Rupa Goswami's Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, he speaks about this famous verse where he describes two verses where he speaks about the symptoms of bhav. Shantiravyakta kalatvam virakta manasunyata asabhanda samutkanta namagani sada ruchi saktastad gunakyani prichastad vasati sale ityadyayo nubhavaya shurjata bhavam kore jane. That this is the symptoms of bhav. That the first symptom is that someone is they're tolerant, they're shanti. They can tolerate different things that are going on around them. And the second is avyakta kalata. They don't waste time. And their third is that they're detached from worldly enjoyment. So these are different symptoms of bhav. And we don't have these symptoms. At least I don't have these symptoms. But we want them. These symptoms will come to us gradually if we're strict about this. So just as somebody like you read about Arnold Schwarzenegger, I think he started lifting weights when he was like, 12 years old or 14 years old or something. And he worked so hard, he had some particular goals. So I was thinking this morning during my non-bhajan, I need to have more goals within my bhajan. And I need to work on things. And we should have both short-term goals and long-term goals. Any person who speaks to you about management or time in material books or thoughts, they'll express this to you, the importance of short-term goals and long-term goals. So we have to have both. And it may be difficult for us coming from a materialistic background that we're so used to hearing so many different subject matters. Shota Vyadini Raj, and the average person on Facebook, I read somewhere, they spend 55 minutes a day on Facebook. They spend like weeks out of the year just watching Facebook. Now, that may not necessarily be bad. It depends on how they're using Facebook. As Gaudiya Vaishnavas, we know Srila Prabhupada taught us about what is proper renunciation, what is improper renunciation. But in general, most people, they're hearing for their own sense gratification. It's a topic which is surprising to a lot of devotees. My Guru Maharshi spoke about the importance of hearing as a service. Generally, we hear for entertainment, and we like to watch stand-up comics. We like to watch a movie. We like this or that, and we get some entertainment from that. But we should be hearing as a service for Krishna. And our hearing, if we do like that, and if we're thinking about this matter, then when topics come which are attractive for us, we can recite this verse. We can put this verse on your wall, on your refrigerator somewhere. That anakata anavyata nahi jena janatata. That when I want to stay away from these kind of subject matters. I want to stay away from Gramya Kata. Gramya Kata literally means the topics of the village, or in this day and age, we would say Facebook Kata. So materialistic people, they're very, very attached to hearing so many different things. And those subject matters that we hear for the consciousness, our consciousness is like a mirror that reflects whatever topic is in front of us. So it's like a hard drive. A hard drive in a computer doesn't tell you anything. It has no information. It can't do anything. You have to program it. You have to give it information. So if you put good things into it, we'll get good things out of it. So the consciousness becomes accustomed to whatever we put into it. We have a difficulty chanting the holy name, perhaps. We find it rather boring or not exciting. We don't have a taste. We have to work on that. It may take us some time. So by contemplating the object of the senses, as the Gita tells us, Jayata Vishayan Pumsa, by contemplating those objects, we develop some attachment for them. Sangasteshu Prajayate. Sangha means attachment. Sangha means that we start associating with them all the time. And then Sangat, from that attachment, Sanjayate Kama, comes some lust for those kind of things, some intoxication of that Kama, Krodha, Vijayate. And from that lust, from that attachment to that thing comes anger if we can't get what we want. Krodha Bhavati Samoha. From that anger, then comes Samoha. We forget, whether we become illusion. From that illusion comes forgetfulness of why we're here. And then we fall back down in the material pool. In the Bhagavatam, in the 10th canto, chapter 14, it's the prayers of Lord Brahma. There's a very nice verse where I really love the commentary of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Today I'd like to speak to you about Sanatana Goswami's commentary on it. But the verse describes it, Tavad Ragadaya Stenas Tavad Kara Griham Griham. That Lord Brahma, he prays to Krishna, says, as long as people don't turn to you, their attachments will act like thieves, their houses will become prisons for them, their illusion will be shackles. And in his commentary, Vishwanath, he gives a conversation between Krishna and Lord Brahma. And Krishna says that this is not good that you're saying like this. People may criticize my grihastha devotees in Braj. And Krishna says that those my grihastha devotees, what to speak of the devotees in Braj. He says, my grihastha devotees are thousands of times greater than the sannyasi, proud sannyasis who think because of their renunciation, they're so great. Sanatana Goswami and Brihad Vaishnava Toshan comments on this verse also. Let's share this with you in the word. It's quite a beautiful commentary. So regarding social media, depends if we consume or produce. I like that commentary. Yeah, I try to produce more, stay away from things personally. But still, it's hard. It's hard to avoid certain things. So Sanatana Goswami speaks here he's saying that this is what Lord Brahma means to say, Tatra Nirupati, Premaspadas Yatmana Pyatmatvena Tvam Eva Ragadasya, that you, my dear Krishna, you're the natural abode of the Nirupati Prema, or the Prema that has no designation, the Prema which has no cause, because you're Atma Atma, you're the soul of the souls. And therefore, Eva Ragasha Sabhaviki Parama Yogashraya, you're the best shelter for everyone's love. You're the perfect receptacle for everyone's rag. Sabhavika means a natural, Parama Yogashraya. You're the natural ashraya, or the topmost ashraya for people's love. And he says that when people, living entities, don't become attached to you as their master, as described above, then what happens is their attachments will act like thieves that steal their auspicious aspirations in the form of the ingredients of their worship from ingredient delusion follow. The followers of attachment, tendencies like compassion and submission, will be polluted accordingly. So this is what happens if we become attached, and then our good qualities like compassion and submission become polluted. We become more and more independent from Guru and Krishna, and our feelings of compassion are lessened. And he goes on to describe how Atta Grihamayo Vishaya Pyavashishta. He speaks about the blind well of householder life, which is full of all kinds of ugly sense objects. Dandanayayeva karagari kritaha shat. It'll become like a prison house for their danda, for their punishment. Because this grihastha life, this household life, is providing consciousness that will cause forgetfulness of you. And their illusion will also attain a condition that will tightly bind them like balls and chains around their feet. Now, this is just the opposite of what Vishwanath describes for the devotees of Krishna. And the example given is Yudhisthira Maharaj, who in the Brihad Bhagavatamrita is described that he was so very attached to Draupadi and to the Pandavas, but his attachment wasn't mundane. His attachment was for them was because they were devotees. And so Vishwanath describes that these real chains, they act for the sannyasis and people who are not attached to Krishna, but they don't affect the grihastha devotees. Of course, that's an easy thing to say, and we like to repeat this because we like to be positive. But the fact is, it's not such an easy thing at all. It's very, very natural for us. It's very, very hard not to become attached to your children, to your husband, your wife. And so therefore, Nathandas Thakur is saying that wherever there's some other topics and other pains, nahi jeno jayikota, I won't go there. And he gives a simple solution then where we should go if we want to avoid being touched by these mundane, non-Christian topics. And it's not the shopping mall. It's not the shopping mall we go to. Tomaro Charana Smriti Saji. He says that may my heart be decorated by remembrance of your lotus feet. Later on, in another song, he'll say that Manira Smarna Pran, that to remember Krishna, that's the life, the pran of my mind. And that therefore the mind is dead if we don't remember Krishna. So when there's life in the body, then jackals and dogs and living entities like that won't approach it. They just find happiness in eating a corpse. In a similar way, if you do gardening, if you plant, you put a seed in fertile soil, you give it good water and it has good sunshine, you feed it properly, then the insects don't attack it. But if that seed is in soil which doesn't get enough water, it doesn't get enough sunshine, then different insects come and attack it. So different persons will come and attack our bhajan, they'll attack our consciousness in different ways if there's no life in us. If we're like a dead body, then the jackals and dogs and vultures will come and they'll eat your body. or like a plant that's not getting proper food, the insects will come and eat it. But if we're always remembering Krishna, then the lust and anger that comes by discussing non-Krishna topics, that won't come to us. This lust and anger, they're happy, they're present in minds which are devoid of thinking about Krishna. Therefore, there's a nice verse in the Garuda Purana to share with you. Ekasmin apyatikrante muhurte dhyana varjite dashubir musitenaiva yuktam akranditum prasham. That at even ekasmin, one moment passes where we don't remember Krishna, then the sadhak, we should start crying, like someone who's been robbed of all their possessions by some thieves or something. So this verse, Narottam Das Thakur is giving us this to help us, that I don't want to go there. Raghunath Das Goswami gives a similar instruction in several places in his Manasiksha, and I think we'll be turning to Manasiksha more in this song, because many of the same points that Raghunath Das Goswami is making in Manasiksha also made in this song. Let's show you the second verse in Manasiksha. Raghunath Das Goswami describes Dharmam Shuddhigana Niruktam Kilakuru Vijay Radha Krishna Prachura Paricharyam Ihatamu Sachi Sunam Nandi Svadapati Sutatve Guruvaram Kunda Prestatve Smada Paramajashram Nanumanam. Oh, my dear mind, don't concern yourself, the dharmam na dharmam, the dharmam na adharmam. Don't worry about the pious or impious deeds described in the Vedas. Don't worry about who's a good devotee, who's a bad devotee. Just focus your mind on serving Radha and Krishna and Braj. And as Narottam Das Thakur is telling us in this song, Abhivata Abhikal Tuya Guna Kala Kal Gaya Jina Satara Samaj, that I should go to the Sata Samaj. I should associate with proper persons. So he says, Sachi Sunam Nandishwara Pati Sutatvi Guruvaram. I want to associate with my Gurudev. And I want to remember, I want to associate with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by remembering that he's a son of Nanda Maharaj. I want to remember that my Gurudev is most dear to Krishna, and associate with my Gurudev and my Gurudev's instructions, and avoid all these other types of nonsense topics. There's another verse which we often quote, which I also, actually, I was showing you up above. This was our poster, what we call it, Do Pure Bhajan. This is another, this is a verse which we'll come to later on from Narottam Das Thakur, but it's so important. It's such a beautiful verse. I've been reciting this every day for a long time. Karmi Gyani Micha Bhakta Nahoibe Toya Anurakta. Don't be attached to what the karmis and the gyanis and the false devotees say or do. Okay, this sannyasi fell down. Okay, there was some child molestation, this or that or the other. But don't put your mind in that toilet. Sudha bhajaneti kodoman. Do bhajan, do pure bhajan. Pure bhajan means you're not thinking of those things. So Narottam Das Thakur is telling us, avoid those topics, avoid that place where these kind of things are going on. Rather, bhajajana raji mata. We should accept the mata, or the opinion, or the conclusion of the brajajanas, the devotees of Vrindavan. Tahi habe anugata. We should follow them. Ese paramatatvadan. This is the topmost wealth. So this is what Narottam Das Thakur is also instructing us in this verse. Anakata anavyata nahi jena janatata. Don't go there. Don't go to those discussions on mundane topics and criticism of different persons. They may be bona fide, may be correct in what they're saying. Maybe somebody did do some bad thing, but it's not going to help us. It's not going to help the world if we go to those things. So we shouldn't worry about those, as Raghunath Goswami is saying, the dharma, not dharma. Don't pay attention to those things. Even don't worry about all the descriptions in Shastra, Shruti Gana Niruktam Kilakuru. Just worship Radha and Krishna in Braj. And how do we worship them? By following the Brij Basis. We worship him, as Narottam is saying in this song, Abhirata Abhikal. I do it in a proper way, without any stopping. Tuya Guna Kala Kal. That I'm remembering the qualities of Krishna constantly. Gai Jaina Satara Samaj, in the Sat Samaj, in the association of pure devotees. And again, that association of pure devotees doesn't mean that they're all free from material desires, but that association of pure devotees means they're talking about Krishna. They're not talking about other things. Again, in the fourth verse, we'll finish with this, in his Manasiksha, Raghunath Das Goswami speaks about a similar subject matter. Asadvarta Veshya Visijamati Sarvasvaharani Kata Mukti Vyagya Nashinu Kila Sarvat Magilani Api Chaktva Lakshmi Patiratim Tovyom Manoyanim Vajay Radha Krishna Swarati Mani Do Tvam Bhajamana. He's saying, he's giving his instructions, my dear mind, Tvam Bhajamana, my dear mind, please worship Krishna. And Asad Varta Vaishya, give up association with non-devotees by hearing topics and things about them. Vishuja, just avoid that, give that up, because they're Varta Vaishya. When you associate that kind of associations, associating with a prostitute, who will take whatever wealth that you have in exchange for some temporary pleasure or seeming pleasure, and then all you ended up with is you lose all your money and you get some terrible disease. Rather, in this, what will this prostitute take away from you? Mati Sarva Shaharani, the jewel of your heart. So Kata Mukti Vyagra, in particular, don't hear about impersonal liberation, which is just like a tiger, which will devour you. Nashino Kila Sarvat Magilani, which will, Gilani means to eat you alive. Even he says, Api Chektva Lakshmi Pati Ritim. Don't be attached. Give up your attachment, even to Lord Narayan, the husband of Lakshmi Devi. Ito Vyoma Nayanim, which will just bring you to Vaikuntha. Instead, Bhajay Radha Krishna Surati Mani Do Tvam Bhajamana. Just worship Radha and Krishna in Vrindavan. And how do we worship Radha and Krishna in Vrindavan? This verse today, Narottam Das Thakur is telling us. Abhirata Abhikal Tuya Guna Kala Kal Gai Jaina Satara Samaj. In that Sat Samaj, in that association of serious devotees who want to hear about Radha and Krishna. That's the place we want to go to. Narottam Das Thakur, again in another later verse, we'll hear, he gives some instructions to our mind. Another beautiful verse, which is very similar to this one too. Let's bring this up. Sangsara bhajotare kam fanse bhandi mari. He said, my dear mind, you should understand that you're being cheated big time. If someone's cheating you, stealing money from you, then your friend is someone who comes and tells you, hey, somebody's stealing money from you. But this cheating, this is a terrible type of cheating. It's kama, it's lust, which is plundering, which is stealing everything that I have. Fansi bandi mari, it's like a rope around my neck, choking me. And so at that time, what can you do? Fukara koroha haridas. He says, fukara means you got to cry, you got to call out really, really loudly. My dear Haridas, my dear devotee of Krishna. And what should you do then? Where should you go? Koroho bhakata sangha. Go and associate with devotees. And how do you associate with devotees? Prema kata rasa ranga. By hearing about prema kata. That's real association with devotees. Tabe hoya vipada vinas. And if we do that, then all the vipad, all the dangers in this world, all the problems, vinas, will all be destroyed. But how often can we find such association of devotees who like to speak about Krishna prema? I oftentimes tell the story about my Guru Maharaj that in 1994, when we were traveling in America before his tour there, I had some idea. I was watching it. In 1994, it was really kind of the beginning of devotees doing seminars and advertising seminars. Before that, preachers would just go and they would give classes. But then they started this whole idea of seminars. And we thought, this is a really good idea. We'll advertise some seminars of Guru Maharaj and different topics, and maybe more people will be inclined to come. So I wanted to suggest it to Guru Maharaj for his approval. And I sent him a fax. This is before email, back in the dinosaur times. And I gave a list of different subject matters that I thought he might speak on, just to like pouring water into the pump to prime it. Srimati Radharani in the Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Lord Jagannath, different things that he likes to speak about. And Guru Maharaj wrote me back a simple message. He said that I speak according to the audience. It's not necessary to do that. And he said, in any way, there's only one topic that I speak on, and that's Krishna prema. And indeed, that was the fact. And if we study what he spoke, sometimes it becomes confusing, where he said things like, without love, your so-called surrender is either artificial, partial, or conditional. It's not complete. It's not genuine. And it sounds like, what are you saying? That there's no benefit to it? I was just listening to a lecture this morning from Guru Maharaj, and Guru Maharaj was speaking something like that, and someone said, oh, but there's some bhakti and mukhi sakriti. Guru Maharaj said, yes, there's bhakti and mukhi sakriti, but still, that bhakti and mukhi sakriti means you'll have to take birth again. We want to speak about Krishna prema. Prema-bhakti-candrika. This prema, this is the goal of everything. This is the movement of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We're not the movement for Sukriti. So because we want that prema, we want to avoid these subject matters which are going to steal away the jewel in our heart. Tomarachana Smriti Saji, that jewel is to remember Gurudev, to remember Krishna. Tatpada Padme Stumatishta Krishna. There's a nice prayer to Guru, that my Gurudev, please may always remember your lotus feet. May always remember Sri Krishna. This is my prayer to Gurudev. So that's the way we want to decorate our heart. My Guru Maharaj used to say that Krishna wants to come and reside in your heart. He wants to steal your heart. But he won't steal your heart, because your heart is so nasty. It's full of so many nasty, nasty things. So we have to purify our heart. But if we're constantly putting nasty things in, Krishna's not going to want to steal our heart. Rather, Maya will steal our heart, and we'll waste our life. As Narottam Das Thakur was describing in that last song, we'll become cheated. Batojare. Batojare means that someone's just coming and stealing everything that you have by these material topics. So I'm going to stop there. Some of you have to go early, and it's also better for all of us. It's Kartik time. Does anybody have any reflections or questions, comments? I'll give Jai Gaura first opportunity, since I was telling him about Chittabuji, Jai Gaura. I was saying that Jai Gaura, they made a pledge to do 7 hours of kirtan 6 days a week during Kartik, or 7 days a week?
Yeah, 6 days a week. On Sundays, we'll do a kirtan in the temple room, but it would be a little less.
It's really ecstatic. My pranams to you. It's really, really good. So you got to
Actually, yesterday was Halloween, and there was a big Halloween parade.
Halloween is like the best year for Harinam.
Oh my God, we did an ecstatic walking Harinam. So we did 7 hours of sitting Harinam, and then we packed up the cart and sent it home with a devotee, and then we did another 2 hours of walking Harinam, because there's this big parade. So we did 9 hours of Harinam, maybe 9.5 hours of Harinam yesterday. It was awesome.
All glories to Rai Ram Prabhu. It's really, really good.
Yeah.
It's really good. Gosh, My pranamsti. I don't do so much anymore. Anyway, do you have any reflections you want to share?
I was actually I was looking for this verse. I was trying to post it into the thing. It reminded me of Bhaktivinoda Thakur's Swanyama Dashakam. That kind of, in some ways, kind of loosely based off of Raghunath Das Goswami's Swanyama Dashakam, and it shares some similar concepts that there are in Manashiksha. I was trying to find this verse. I was going to hear. Maybe I'll just read it to you.
Sure.
Oh, here it is. The seventh verse. I'll just read the English. I have no attraction for living in Vaikuntha, that part of the spiritual sky presided over by Sri Sri Lakshmi Narayan. Nor do I desire useless activities of gross sense gratification in this material world. I will never cherish the desire for attaining the divine bliss of impersonalistic liberation, even for a second. Furthermore, there are many transcendental pastimes of Sri Hari that may be very purifying for all conditioned souls. Yet, such pastimes will never ever give me any real happiness at all. This is because such pastimes are quite different from blissful ecstasies of Braj consciousness, being completely devoid of any relationship with Sri Radhika, who is the one and only fountainhead of pure joy.
Why don't I put this on the board just for a second? Translation. No attraction for living in Vaikuntha, part of the spiritual world resided by Sri Sri Lakshmi Narayan. Nor do I desire the useless activities of gross sense gratification in the material world. Vaikuntha Raje Nacha Vishaya Karye Mama Bhakti. I'll never cherish the desire for attaining divine bliss of impersonal liberation, even for a second. Furthermore, there are many transcendental pastimes of Sri Hari that may be very purifying for all conditioned souls, yet such pastimes will never give me any real happiness at all. This is because it's quite different from blissful ecstasies of grudge consciousness, being completely devoid of any relationship with Sri Radhika. That's beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing. You still there, Jaguar?
I love the fanaticism.
I heard you, but I can't see.
Yeah, I'm here. Hare Krishna.
And your voice
really?
is going. I don't see you anymore. Oh, there you are. But now there's no
Hare
sound.
Krishna. Ah. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama.
Sound like you're using your internet at the Hare Krishna temple or something. Okay. So I'm going to take you. And Leela Purushottam, I think you also had to go soon, right? Anything you want to share?
Hare Krishna. Yeah, it's kind of a eye-opener part because we can face so drastically the gap between the ideals and reality. So that only makes me to contemplate like the standpoint of such a statement, like that anything in this world is of no value, and I don't pay like zero attention to it, and and although one I mean, if I analyze myself, at least I can at least honestly I can say I'm attracted to it, to being really absorbed 100% absolutely to Krishna conscious topics. But the reality is that one meets with so many failures on the way, like, you know, day by day. Again, I felt pleasure to listen to the mundane music, and again I paid attention to whatever nonsense, and and I'm concerned about the news, and what about the war there, and will it spread to our place also, and yeah, so that's just my thoughts, that what's really the like realistic standpoint for such a statement that we've heard today. It sounds to me that it's not like it doesn't really reflect the situation of the conditioned soul of the sadhaka, but rather it's like a window into the life of the Siddha Mahatmas, of the perfected souls. And maybe the benefit for us is that that the strength of their conviction can at least infect us and give us like more determination, or well, like in that sense.
Yeah, it's, and aside from that, I was thinking too when you were speaking that there's a lot of topics like gardening. Does this mean I shouldn't read a book about gardening, or know which insects are bad and which are good? And there's so many subject matters that we use for Christian service, but that's a primary point. Am I using this for Christian service, or is this really for
Yeah,
myself?
that would be quite easy, I would say, for at least for me, in that sense. If I can conceptually connect it with Krishna's service, with my remembrance of Krishna, or with a practical thing, as you mentioned, with gardening, then it's quite easy. But I'm thinking, like, we are very often in like, as we are reading, hearing, very often we are faced with like black and white conception. Either you are totally in Maya, or you are like totally liberated and not contaminated, not conditioned. But reality of most of the sadhakas are like the gray. It's like we are somewhere in between, like, because that's the thing. I can quite honestly say that I relish the topics of Krishna consciousness. I love Krishna Katha, and that would be the thing to consider, maybe in a light what you mentioned about your Guru Maharaj, to really analyze, do I like it from the standpoint of sense gratification, or like my personal pleasure, or do I appreciate it as a that it's my service to Guru and Krishna? That would be another consideration. But on the other hand, the thing what I wanted to mention is that at the same time I still face this frustration that I feel the same relish, same taste in the mundane topics. I don't know if same, but I feel.
I see a trend sometimes amongst devotees to go to the lowest common denominator, to just dumb everything down, and to say something like, well, this is really high and nobody's really doing this, so let's not go there. Or this is only for Paramahamsas, it's not for us. And then we just cheat ourselves out of the treasure of the writings of our Goswamis and Narottam Das Thakur and others. Whereas I think a healthier attitude is to read it and look at it with the perspective, this is the proper standard. I'm not there. I don't have it. And therefore I should cry. But I'm associating with him. And let's not go to Guru and just talk to him about, please give me some miracle to heal my broken leg, or tell me some mundane thing. Let's go to Gurudev and really associate with him. Similarly, let's go to Narottam Das Thakur and our acharyas and really hear what they want to tell us and listen to those things. And if we're not up to the mark, as uncomfortable as it may be, maybe that's a good thing about it then. That's my humble perspective. It gives us some understanding of where we're at and where I need to go.
Yeah, I have it strongly connected with your points that we've discussed previously in regarding to Prema-bhakti-candrika. That's really part of accepting the reality. Then our endeavors in devotion we can at least have some chance that they will be authentic. They will be real. It won't be just artificial. Or
when you say the words artificial, it indicates to us that we've seen devotees try to imitate things, and even worse than imitating, they imitate at the same time that they want to try to bash other devotees. You're just because some grihastha devotee has a television or this or that, Prabhu, you're just in Maya, or this or that or the other. We should use these things to inspire ourselves and not beat other devotees up with. But at the same time, I strongly feel that we can't compromise these things. We can't compromise what Prabhupada taught us. It's 4 regulated principles. And there's a reason for those things. Maybe not everybody can do that. We don't hate them. We love them. But we want to preserve the teachings of our acharyas. It's a very, very important thing.
That's why that's why what I take from it is that even if it might be a little bit, I don't know, I don't want to say, like, use the too strong words like frustrating. It can be like, like facing too much of reality. But still as you mentioned now, that thing that it can like work for us as the lighthouse or something, like that's the proper thing, and that's where I want to aim. That's my goal. So in that sense, it's a great service, actually, even connected with the feelings that may not be so pleasing to us, to face the reality of our fallen state. In that sense, we can always appreciate, and we can gladly accept it, actually.
It also reminds me, I've seen a lot of times devotees. I recently had a discussion with a devotee, very learned devotee, who couldn't accept that you have to hear from a person the Bhagavatam. And I quoted so many verses and things to him, and he said, yeah, I know, everybody was already quoting those to me. And the problem with him was he was abused. He had a bad experience. And so now he lumps this Siddhanta in, which is its proper Siddhanta. It's our teaching. But because somebody misused it, then we just want to discard it altogether. You just want to give it up. So we also have to be really careful of that. Because someone has misused a good thing doesn't mean that it's not a good thing. It doesn't mean that
that's quite observable phenomena in the society of devotees. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Anybody else want to share anything? Mataji? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, thank you for very inspiration, Kata. At one point you said we should not be boring about chanting, we should be excited about chanting. Can you give some advice? Because I don't feel excited about chanting. I always feel like after 4 rounds, I feel boring. Like I have to do this, I'm pushing myself, but I'm not excited.
And that's what Rupa Goswami speaks about in Upadeshamrita. And therefore, we have to work on ourselves. We have to try. When we see that our mind is going here or there, or we don't have any taste for chanting, we start falling asleep. These are my difficulties, and I don't have taste for the holy name, then I have to work on it. And it may take some time. It may take years or whatever, but let's work on it very hard. I was thinking, you guys were speaking to us about Shivaram Maharaj the other day and how you saw him swimming in the river there. And I know he goes on a regular basis, and his sadhana is amazing. And he's worked on things for so many, many years. When you work on something like that for a long period of time, then it'll become easier and easier. But we have to be really, really careful. If we start becoming slack and we don't work on it, it's always too difficult, and we just chant to get it done, then we may be going backwards. We may be losing our taste for the holy name. So that's my humble suggestion, especially associate with devotees who have some taste, and work on it every day. Spend some focused time trying to chant with devotees who are chanting seriously, and just keep working on it, and just keep watching ourselves. Prabhupada, one time he said that we should always be very conscious of where we're at, and what we're doing. That'll help us so much in our non-bhajan. So in our japa, we should be very, very conscious. Am I being attentive? Do I have some taste? And we can pray for that. Try to get up in the morning. But there's another lecture, Srila Prabhupada, where he's saying that advancement means that you wake up in the morning and you're excited to be able to chant. But sometimes we wake up in the morning, oh God, I've got to do this thing today. So we can pray for that. Is that helpful?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. You guys are so fortunate there in Mayapur. And it's late at night right now. I forgot what time it was for you. We were calling earlier. Prabhuji, do you want to share anything?
No, just to thank you for Katha and for your time.
I'm going to send this poster out to everybody, and I'll encourage everybody. You can print it out in any shop. I've got it it's got red and black and brown. You don't have to print it in color, though. You can just print it in one color if you want, or
Yes,
print
please.
Laminate it, stick it on your wall. It's a really nice meditation.
We will. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Lokapavani, do you want to share something?
Hare Krishna. I have a question. If you can please explain to me what do you mean when your Guru Maharaj said that we are not the movement of Sukriti but of Prema? What does it mean, the movement of Sukriti? What did you mean by that?
So many devotees, they're practicing Krishna consciousness is a kind of trap. I find it myself sometimes. I'm thinking that, well, I'm not really working so hard Krishna consciousness. I'm not really trying to hear the holy name, but I've done so many parikramas. I've had, lunch with Niranjan Maharaj. I've associated with different sadhus. And because of that, definitely in my next life, I'm going to get some benefit. So we're not the movement for Sukriti consciousness. That's not what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to give. We're the movement for Krishna Prema. And we want to strive for that. And sometimes we don't want to do that because it makes us uncomfortable. We don't like to be in an uncomfortable position. But that uncomfort, that giving up our comfort helps us. That's why we see if you fast on Ekadasi, you're in an uncomfortable situation. And when you're or you sleep less, when you're in an uncomfortable situation like that, the tendency is we call out more to Krishna. We're not covered over by our sense gratification. So we should avoid being covered over like that and avoid this tendency, which I see in many, many places in our movement, to just encourage Sukriti, chanting some mantras, reading a chapter of the Gita every day because you're going to go back to Godhead. We're not interested in going back to Godhead. We want Krishna Prema. That's the purpose of our movement. And maybe, that's a big thing coming out of a small mouth, you may say, in my case. But let's not compromise the teachings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his followers. Let's be honest. Maybe we can't come up to that standard, but let's keep the standard. Let's not water it down and change it. We're not the movement for Sukriti consciousness. We're the movement for bhakti, for Sudha bhakti, for Prema bhakti. Does that make sense now?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. It's so nice you're taking part today. It's good to see you. Thank you. Nila Purushottam has another comment. He says, it reminds me of the statement, the greatest enemy of spiritual progress is a lukewarm practice. That sounds like Ayendra. It's a good comment. Anybody else want to share anything? We'll go ahead and finish off then. Tirthakar Prabhu. And maybe Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Yes, I was just wondering that how mystical the process of Krishna consciousness is, because when I like go through some topics or some ideas, and then like I was for a while not here, and then I come here and it just speaks about exactly the same things. And
yeah, sometimes Krishna's really working in different ways.
It's like what a management. It's like amazing, you know. And especially that point what you mentioned, that we have to really like be appreciating of devotees association. And I realized that actually we as a devotees, we don't actually really have much problems or many problems in spiritual life. I kind of narrow it down just like to two problems, that usually our Shravanam Kirtanam becomes weak, and then many other problems comes. So I'm always trying to focus on that. And I spoke with several devotees lately in some of the groups which we have. And I realized that actually our devotees in our movement are almost not reading, which was kind of very sad to, how to say, that I found out that, you know. So I'm trying to think how to inspire devotees to actually read more than like, I don't know, 1 hour a week, or sometimes even this they don't do, you know. So this was really nice today that you highlighted this, like these small goals and big goals, you know, and then we should really endeavor, because with everything, I just read recently in Chaitanya Charitamrita that we have to endeavor in everything, even in material world. If you want to be extremely successful, you have to put so much blood. And you mentioned this Arnold Schwarzenegger, right, today. So again, the same thing. And I was thinking that actually in spiritual life, we have to put the same blood, but sometimes we misunderstand what does it mean. Like we put so much endeavor, we don't mind to do austerity, we don't mind to wake up morning, we don't mind to be like very renounced, but we will not put time for Shravanam and Kirtanam. It's like so difficult to do that, you know. So I was thinking that if we will spend more time with that, then these other things will actually somehow fall in place. So this was really very nice today. It's very inspiring. Thank you very much, bro.
I've been thinking a lot lately about different devotees' complaints and things about ISKCON and society and leaders and things. And my conclusion has been that the problem is we don't have a culture. The problem is not the leaders. The problem is not that we're sentimentally following them. We don't have a proper culture. When there's a proper culture, like in the Holy Dham, it protects so many things. But we need that. So that proper culture means coming together with like-minded devotees and hearing and chanting. When we just go to the temple and we think ISKCON means the temple, and then I go to the temple and there's some temple president who may be, no doubt he's a sincere person, he's trying really hard, but it's just overwhelming for him paying the bills and trying to get everybody to solve and clean things and do all the different works and things. And he starts slipping in his bhajan and his focus on the holy name, which is a natural kind of thing to happen in that situation. And then in that situation, we associate with him, we become disgusted, and we say, oh, ISKCON is bad because I had this bad experience with this particular person. But what is ISKCON? Is ISKCON the temple, or is ISKCON the institutions of the GBC, or is ISKCON the process? The chanting of the holy name and reading of the Bhagavatam, things that Prabhupada came to give. Is it the meeting? Is it the coming together of like-minded devotees like we're doing today, which nourishes us so much? That's what Narottam Das Thakur is stressing. And that's what Prabhupada is stressing. That's what Prabhupada did. When we started associating in a big group, then it becomes more impersonal, and we feel hurt because they're not treating me like a person and things. So that means I should take responsibility for my life and create some culture. But it's hard here because there is no culture. It's a lot easier in Jagannath Puri, every Ekadasi, all over Orissa. I hear every Ekadasi, I hear 24-hour kirtan. Every place I've been, from the capital Bhubaneswar, anywhere, every Ekadasi, there's persons, I don't know if they're all, we would call them Vaishnavas or not, but they come together and they chant the Hare Krishna mantra all night long on Ekadasi. And it's, so there's sanghas like that, and there's different sanghas. Some of them are more pure than others. Some of them read the Bhagavatam. We need to create such sanghas. It's so important.
Maybe it will sound a little arrogant, but I because I was like thinking many times why you are not in Puri, because I know that it's very dear to you. And forgive me maybe if I'm too bold, but I was thinking that the Lord has now, because I hear references from the devotees when they meet with you. And I had one devotee, for example, who he was a long time not going to the Sangha. He dropped from the Sangha, and he was not going a long time, maybe almost 1 year or something like that. And then he met with you one time, and he wrote me that he would like to rejoin again for Sanghas. And he wrote me reason that he was inspired by you. You know. So I was thinking that actually there is so many devotees that they are so happy when they meet with you and they have your association. So maybe
thank you. That's very flattering. At the same time, to be honest, if someone has any kind of inspiration, why is it? Because Narottam Das Thakur says, Tuya Guna Kala Kala Gai Jina Satara Samaj. It's Sat Samaj means that we speak about Krishna. And I've spoken about this many times. We have abused Krishna consciousness. We've used Krishna consciousness as a means for me to make money, or as a means for me to become famous. We've abused Krishna Katha for that. And then devotees, they lose their inspiration to read. They lose their inspiration to come together and hear and chant, because someone's doing it, just become a big person. But if we do it, we keep Krishna in the center of things. Then it's so very, very sweet. My Guru Maharaj was so insistent on that. If we just keep, what is this katha today that we're doing? We just had a bunch of different verses and things we're quoting and going over and hearing Prabhupada. It doesn't belong to me. And then we just think something about it. But what we're doing, we're all coming together and we're hearing from Narottam Das Thakur and from Prabhupada and from Garuda Puran and Gita and different places. That's our responsibility. And the real crime that I see in our society is that devotees are not doing that. Instead, they're speaking about management or so many things. And the crime is going unnoticed because we all want to be criminals like that. Oh, it's easy, and I don't have to know Shastra. I don't have to quote Shastra. I'll become a big person, and then I'll get the Mahaprasad. I'll get a nice place, this and that. And we're envious of them. We criticize them. But, we also want to be like that. Let's just hear and chant about Krishna. Like you do. You're a very good example, Tirthakar.
Yeah, one devotee he had from one of our group, he had like an exchange with one devotee who is senior, and he is very knowledgeable and he reads a lot, but he doesn't go into association of devotees where he would discuss these things. And then it came from him like such a statement, like, because he was telling him some arguments from Nectar of Devotion, and he said that is not valid. This is old 400 years. Rupa Goswami wrote this 400 years ago. This is not for now. And I was thinking, like, that's exactly when you don't appreciate devotees association. Even if you are reading and chanting on your own, you will not benefit from it.
Yeah, when we read on our own, the result a lot of times is we just get proud. We're doing it for some prestige or something to impress people. But we're not doing it to relish. We're not doing it as a service for different devotees. And it's so important. Vaisheshika Prabhu is a great inspiration for me. Every time he gives us kathas, afterwards he asks devotees for reflections. Different devotees take turns, giving some reflection. If you go in any of his yatras, he asks different devotees to speak and things. That's how we create a sangha. It's nice that's the format we're trying to do here. We have something a little formal so that we can make some progress going through Prema-bhakti-candrika. I have that service to do, but it's not really hearing from me. It's hearing from Prabhupada, Narottam Das Thakur, et cetera, and then there's discussions with the devotees. That's so very, very important. Actually, I had some anyway, we'll talk about it. I have some thought what to do for this Sunday a little bit, but I won't talk about it right now. Shouldn't have said that. Okay, thank you, Tirtha Karpana. Anybody else want to share anything?
Can I ask a question based on this?
Yes, you can, sir.
I was thinking, I love reading with devotees. Sometimes, and I met a few devotees who are like this also. Sometimes it feels or seems better to read on your own some topics of higher subject matters, because I've noticed before sometimes it's hard to find someone compatible in one sense. Sometimes you might feel uncomfortable, like someone might laugh when there's like a very grave portion that you're reading or something like that, and it might turn you off. That's just an example. So I was wondering if you had any advice for, because I know that you're able to churn things more when you read together. But sometimes I feel like, and I want to read, these certain topics about Radha and Krishna, but there's not always, sometimes I'm not quite sure how to do that with others.
The last statement from my Guru Maharaj from this world, well, the last written statement at least, he wrote in his diary, and this statement is something I was contemplating today, how important it is, how relevant it is for as a statement for all the devotees, as a statement for himself, as instruction for me. He wrote, he said, he prayed to Gopal, my dear Gopal, please give me association with like-minded devotees. That's our prayer. That was his prayer. He's such a personality, but he was feeling that he didn't have that, and he was expressing that. And somehow Krishna arranged that diary would come up for us, so we could all see that. That should be our prayer. It reminds me of experience I've had in Vrindavan sometimes during Kartik, or any time in Vrindavan, or any place anywhere, that on those days when I chant good japa, good for me in a relative way, I don't see Krishna, but I'm chanting something and trying more or less being attentive, then those days are wonderful. And I tend to meet so many wonderful devotees. Krishna just sends them to me. But on other days when I'm busy and I'm running around and I'm chanting and I'm not focusing so much on my japa, then oftentimes I have a very bad day. And then I meet some angry Ridvik devotee or this or that. And Krishna just brings these obnoxious people to me. So the real question is, how can we find such association? And the answer is, but by being absorbed in Krishna consciousness. That if we're absorbed in chanting the holy name, if we're absorbed in hearing Krishna Katha, that sound vibration will attract like-minded persons. Krishna will send like-minded persons. Whereas on the other hand, if we're not really absorbed, we're just doing something in a mechanical, institutional kind of way, I have to finish this, then we attract persons like that. We attract external persons. So really, again, the onus is on us. We have to work on. Is that helpful, Jagar?
Yes, Guru, thank you very much. I like that. I'm pushing the Harinam card out right now. I'm on my way to the subway.
All glory to the holy name.
Yeah.
To you and all the devotees here doing that service. I wish I could be there. At least we can support in spirit. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, anybody else want to share anything? Shut down. Anybody here? Anyone want to share anything? Krishna, you got to come close.
Yeah, I just picked up my ears when you spoke about there is no benefit. When Gurudev told you that he only speaks on prema and this artificial conditional partial surrender, so there is no benefit at all. It reminded me of this quote, which I just like so much.
You want to read it? Okay.
I'm just going to read it from Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Therefore, calling the Lord's names for any reason other than to attain his devotional service is useless. Jesus Christ told us not to take the Lord's name in vain. However, this doesn't mean we do not need to always chant the Lord's names by sleeping, awake, eating, or enjoying happiness. To chant the Lord's name begging for his service is not a useless activity, it's our only duty. But to make a show of chanting for some other purpose, in other words, to fulfill our own desires, is useless. We should not take to the chanting of the Lord's names uselessly. We should not chant to attain religiosity, economic development, sense gratification, liberation. We should always chant to attain the Lord's service.
Beautiful.
So it's
That's
useless.
a perfect quote. Thank you very much.
Can you please share that in the group?
Yeah, there's a call. You have to share that.
Yeah, I will
It's
share.
peace.
Yeah. It's useless in terms of Krishna Prema. Otherwise, it's not like it's useless.
Yeah, well, a life without Krishna Prema, that my life is useless if I don't have Krishna Prema. That's our prayer.
I just recently spoke with one Vaishnavi, and she was telling me how during karting, during Prabhupada's Guru Puja, she was seeing all these wonderful devotees. But during Prabhupada's Guru Puja, having lots of Mahaprasada. And she was thinking, we became a religion. This is so sad.
Well, maybe some of them also have to leave and they're going back to the West. And just
We don't know. We don't know their motivations and their circumstances.
It's a fact.
But I just made this comment about I don't want to become a religion. I want
that's
where the excitement, Manisha, that's where the excitement is coming for chanting. You know that this is such a special gift on Charinchirat. It's just such a gift, this holy
But when we start thinking as a society, when we start thinking about Sukriti, I get this benefit. I went to Mangalartik every day. And Prabhu, if you go to Mangalartik, you'll have peace of mind. It'll be good for your health. Your mind will be clear. And we say so many things, which we speak in preaching for non-devotees, but that really is a kind of cheating for the non-devotees. The real thing is we want you to start crying and rolling on the ground in ecstasy. That's why we're here. We want you to forget
the peace of mind.
we want you to become very, very disturbed. That's why we're here.
Suffering poor.
We don't tell them that. They can't understand. All right. Thank you, Krishna. Anybody else with anything you want to share? Okay. So I have no idea next week what's going to be happening with anything. Sorry? We should still be here, it looks like, in our same place. So we should still be able to have our kata. We have a Sunday kata coming up also. Yeah, but after that, who knows what's going to happen. Okay, so thank you all very much. It's just such a wonderful thing for me to really get everybody's association. Please forgive me, I'm not a proper speaker. We're just trying, it's not a class, we're just trying to associate with devotees. And Lila Purushottam has one word he's trying to share. I wonder what it means. The word is check. What do you think that word is, Krishna?
Who knows what's gonna happen? I say what's gonna happen.
We agreed on one thing the other day, Krishna Kun and I, that after when we leave here, we have to leave here a few days, like the 12th or 13th or something, so we can be somewhere. Maybe.
Yeah, definitely. I was thinking about the weekend. Yeah, that would be a proper time.
Govardhan Puja.
Govardhan Puja.
Never mind the weekend.
Govardhan Puja is on Tuesday, yeah.
All right. Okay, thank you, everybody. Srila Prabhupada ki, Srila Narottam Das Thakur ki, Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bol, Vanchakal, Kripa Sindhu Beva Cha, Patitanam Pavanam, Vaishnava Namo Namaha Nandakuri